1, 2, 3, 4.
And welcome back to Breakfast with Brothers.
What's up, people? How's everyone doing today? How's everyone doing?
Well, I'm doing great.
I hope they know we're doing great. That's why we're podcasting, to let you guys know that we're doing great.
Well, I hope they're doing great too, you know. I don't want them to be having a
Absolutely.
bad day, you know.
No, never. And I will say, I hope you guys noticed that we don't have our surprise guest today.
Joke's on you, psych.
No, but he is coming on this week, and that's the only hint you're gonna get. It's a he. We're not telling you anything else. We're just gonna keep it rolling until Thursday. So sorry, you're gonna have to wait.
Is he a man or is he a Muppet? You'll find out.
In this case, if we could interview Muppets, that would be really fun. But we're not going to
That would
tell
be
you
pretty
if
sweet.
it is a Muppet or not.
A man or a Muppet? Muppet of
The
a
age-old
man.
question. In this case, we're
All
just
right.
keeping it a surprise for you guys because I know that you're looking forward to it. So keep your eyes peeled, your ears open, because they will show up here at the end of our weekly session. So stay tuned.
Eventually.
Eventually. We could keep saying that for anything. Eventually, we'll talk about, I don't know, video games maybe. Eventually, but not today.
Not today. Today we're talking about the lovely Neuralink. And now
A little bit more dive into our tech era of the podcast, so to say.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I'm sure all of you have some concept of like the Neuralink and people talking about it. You know, a chip being implanted in your brain where you can see TV screens and like, you know, open up web browsers with your eyes and shit. What do you think about that,
It would be
Zach?
interesting. I think it'll be, on the good side of things, it'll be an advancement for people who need a little bit more in their daily life. Something that can help guide them, keep them disciplined, keep them motivated. Because I'm sure this is one of those things where it's going to be, if people get it, they're getting it to be more helpful for themselves, whatever that looks like in their life. Now, I can't say for sure if people get this Neuralink implanted and then it actually changes anything they do. But I'm sure people are hopeful that it can help them in their day-to-day. I was just having a conversation with you about this the other day, talking about people's people's ability to be able to know more things and get more things done, come up with information that they wouldn't have been able to think of before. So, I mean, if you look at it that way, people could be walking Series, just like our Smart Assistant episode from last week.
Yeah, that would be kind of crazy, you know, thinking about it now. Just having something like so close, you know, just essentially implanted in you. You have to do basically nothing in order to like use it or access it. It's just a matter of just using your own mind to actually be able to, you know, I guess pull up anything you want, you know, whether it is a web page or whether it's a video game. I mean, I don't know about that to that extent just yet, but I know in the extent of like information seeking or any type of certain visuals, I guess like TV wise, could be a possibility. I'm not really sure. But I mean,
I almost think that with it there, it serves a purpose for memory capture capability. I think it would be good for being able to tuck with things away and not have to worry about it. For example, right now, obviously know people or have heard stories of other people that have older folks in their lives, grandparents, great grandparents, what have you, that suffer from Alzheimer's or dementia. So I feel like Neuralink would be one of those things where you could use it as a memory store, you know, as a memory cache, I guess you could say, only because that moves into sort of a Black Mirror episode where you can play back things in your past that you've gone through, or you could just pull up information that you need to use for, say, a business meeting or meeting up with an old friend you haven't seen in a while. So I wonder, in that sense, what you could store. If it would be something like, yeah, the chip in your head has 10 terabytes of storage, good luck with that. And what it looks like to even categorize a memory. Like, oh yeah, this one's a gigabyte, this one's only 18 millibytes, or sorry, megabytes. What would that even, look like? I don't know if you've thought of something like in that regard to Neuralink being a data store, but what if?
I really haven't, honestly. I didn't even think of it like that, and which is perfect because now I can just give like a a general, not a general answer, like a raw answer right now.
Yeah,
I think it would be pretty sweet, honestly, because think about all the people that that suffer from Alzheimer's and memory loss in general. And there's a lot of people that have short-term memory loss. So they have all their long-term memories, but as time goes on, their short-term is just completely decimated.
right.
And then obviously people that have long-term memory loss, which also could be a shame. Either way. So having something as such that could store, memories in that instance, or some sort of data bank where you could hold and bring those past memories back up much clearer would be a pretty neat thing. Now I don't know if it would be able to, let's say we got the Neuralink, right?
Yeah.
We implanted it. Would it be able to record all of our past memories already, or would it be able to just from there on, when it was implanted, record memories?
I can't say. I would probably assume that it would have to be from when you implant it, but I guess since it's a Neuralink and it probably learns as you learn, it might be able to pick up on stuff that you think about. And I think that's the whole key, stuff that you think about. So if you think about things, then the Neuralink can access it and do what it needs to with it. And whether or not that's data storing or bringing up information to tell somebody a story or bringing up something to, I don't know, take a test, maybe answer questions during an interview, whatever. I'm sure you'll think on past experiences and past recollections of things that have happened and then bring it to light. And I think the Neuralink would probably be able to sense that what you're currently thinking isn't something in the present. You're relating it to something that's happened to you before, something in your life coming up to the point that the Neuralink got in. So I think for everything previous to the Neuralink coming in, it would probably just have to be on a thought by thought basis, which is weird to say out loud. But on the further hand, where you're self-learning, or sorry, giving Neuralink the chance to self-learn, then it works out in the sense that once it's input, then it's kind of just taking everything there as you go. So I don't know. I think it's all dependent on the person and what they're using it for. And I'd imagine if it is a data store that it could do that. It definitely could.
Yeah, I feel like it probably could, but I mean, it also would make sense if it wasn't able to, considering that,
Right.
you know, obviously their past memories, there's not any recording capabilities. It's merely just based off of, memory of the user. But I think it's still a pretty cool concept. Would I get a Neuralink? Probably not. I don't know if I would ever implant anything into my body of such. But I know a couple people that would love to become cyborgs. Would replace like a body part or half of their, like Cyborg from Teen Titans.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So there's plenty of people that I know that would probably follow along with this and like would want to do it, which is interesting because I know a lot of people that also would not want to become anywhere near something like that. Would want to keep
Yeah,
like their
right.
natural body.
I feel like it's all preference at that point. And I know Neuralink isn't completely ridding you of your humanness. It's not completely obliterating the side of you that has emotion and can be connected spiritually, emotionally. Because I'm sure with the Neuralink, it might even, to a degree, be able to enhance stuff like that. Now, I know we're talking about the good side of things. We'll flip to the bad side here, that maybe call it the halfway point. But I feel like with its capability, you can do a lot of things for good if you want it to be like that. And I think that goes a long way. And, not only the data storage sense of things, like that's great, being able to recall memories, do what you need to in your day to day and not be able to be, let's just say, disturbed by past thoughts and stuff. They're more aided, they're more helpful. So I feel like if you're going to use it, for what you're saying, the cyborg capabilities, being able, who knows, maybe you're now stronger, and that might just be mentally. It might not be physically. You're mentally stronger. You can now take jokes. You can go into risky situations without, thinking of fear and failure. You can go into maybe job interviews, or you can even just operate at a day to day on a different level. You get to tell yourself how you'd like to operate. And that's probably where the self-learn comes in, because the Neuralink is correcting all your worst habits, maybe giving you a better direction. Maybe not, it's not something that somebody would want from the Neuralink, but at least that capability might be there for a person who needs it in that sense.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Uh, you have all these people that are just trying to find ways to better themselves, whether
Right.
that's, eating better, drinking more water, uh, staying motivated, staying on top of work and such, staying on top of their own hobbies, whatever it might be. Uh, the Neuralink, I guess, could honestly help with that. Again, I haven't really looked too much into the Neuralink. I've heard a lot about it. I've heard a lot of jokes about it, but it's also something interesting that could really help, depending or not on how you view it and how you look at it
Right.
further down the line. As we evolve as people and such, it could honestly be a great use to us if we have the right people working on it and like actually caring for the user in the instance.
Right, yeah. And I think for every Neuralink that will get implanted, as much as the people that manufacture and create it and then actually do the deed of getting it in you, as much as their outlook is positive, I think the person that receives the implant or wherever they put their Neuralink has to also be open, because if they go in like it's going to be, for example, like a bad trip or something and they have bad feelings about it, it's probably not going to react in a positive way. It's probably going to be one of those things where you're just paranoid about it, what it could do, what it's telling the big brother, so to say. And I think that would go a long way in keeping people away. So I think in the sense that it's AI and it can operate as your own personal assistant in your head, playing back memories, giving you a chance to be a walking Google, being able to connect with people on like a telecommunicative level, then that's probably where people have to be able to hone in their own power. I think even if they are fearful of failure and what would come of having that type of piece of technology in their body, it would be a lot of pressure. That would be a lot of weight on someone's shoulders to even think about.
Right. Yeah. It's this idea that AI is like, I shouldn't say inherently bad, but is looked at in a negative aspect. AI today is, and I don't mean to cut off on this tangent, but I think it's important for some people to hear. I work for an AI company. I essentially make sure, I go through assessments of, how AI react to certain questions and prompts and such. So I essentially assess AI day in, day out for my job. And AI are programmed by humans to produce essentially someone who can answer any question. And obviously you have like AI that can make images and generate images and generate clips. Now, I will say some things are getting pretty scary with AI, where they can actually make like relatively realistic like video clips that are no
Yeah,
longer
that
than
stuff
like
is nuts.
yeah, like 15 to 30 seconds or whatever it is. They're getting really good, and that's getting scary. I don't know too much on that, but on the sense of AI like taking over the world and doing everything, there's a chance that it could through those clips. I can't fault that, because that stuff looks extremely real.
I was gonna say it'd be more propaganda if anything that would be coming out of that.
Right. But as for like other AI, they're not going to take over the world. They are made by humans, programmed by humans, just as anything else is. It's just a matter of function, and they're tested I'm a tester, and it's quite interesting, honestly. And I think if people don't really have too much information or education on AI, I would definitely look into it and do your own research and see how you truly feel about this all. And if you have and you still hate them, by all means, that's your prerogative. But I think that there's some use to them. Do I like what they're doing with like AI imagery and videos? No, I really don't like that stuff because you have all these deep fakes coming out now as well, like for, copying famous accounts and like making ads with like a certain person's image in it, and it's a complete deep fake, which is insane.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens in the future of it. And I think this is a nice segue into the bad side of what the Neuralink could be and what AI could have for us. Because like you said, with AI being so infant in its phase, where things are being learned now, like a lot of the people are what makes and functions power AI. Being able to put effort, time, information into AI and the platforms that it supports and sits on. We obviously need people to be able to recognize and understand and give AI a chance to do what it needs to do to be AI. Because that's the whole sense, right? That it's a self-learning and maybe not self-activating, but in certain situations self-activating. But in other times, it's basically there as a tool. It's similar to what money would be for people. It's a tool, things that people use to be able to further an instance of what they're in, doing it faster, more efficiently, making maybe some type of income out of it, what have you. But I think it's there more so to be a tool. If people start relying on it, that's probably when things go bad. That's probably when people get the wrong picture about it. I think that's what the same thing with Neuralink is going to be. If people start using it for not good, for, I wouldn't say as far as evil, but just people using it for things that aren't necessarily a way that AI would be thought of to be used for. I think that's what all the people that make it, manufacture it, and want to implant it are trying to hope that people will avoid. I'm sure they're just sitting there somewhere and they're just like, yeah, people are going to use this. They're going to be able to, think thoughts. They're going to be able to connect with people on a whole new level. They're going to be able to, who knows, maybe they'll become, right now they're working as like a manager at McDonald's. Next thing you know, they're an astronaut. The sky's the limit.
Yeah, then you got like Jerry, the computer hacker, sitting over there with his Neuralink looking at you.
It's true. I guess in that sense, too, you could probably go in a lot of different directions with software and maybe being a cybersecurity hacker or something along those lines. Of course, the evil intention side of things. And even with that, I think it could get worse, if people want to use it in that light. I think about what we were talking about before with being able to use it for memories and data storing and being able to pull up past events and things like that. If people use that to, I wouldn't say hurt themselves, but against other people, they use some type of data store in their head that remembers back to something someone did to them that they didn't like, or a person in their past that wronged them in some way. I think that could be a bad light for people trying to look to get, I don't know, like revenge or use it against someone, blackmail, things like that, where it could get hazy. Things could go haywire pretty quickly.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because at that point you're unstoppable in the sense of what you can do with your mind, being now that you have capabilities that you weren't able to like achieve before, which is insane. Because now here you have essentially a computer implanted in your head, even though your brain's already a computer, in the sense of that. But, you have essentially a unlimited supply of information that you are now like able to access very easily, depending on, of course, where you put your Neuralink. Some people, I think you can put it like on the back of your head, the side of your head, or certain areas.
And in your arm too, I think. I thought
your arm?
Initially it was near your wrist or something like that. Something that was like a minor skin, like your first layer of skin, pretty much.
Interesting. Okay, so
I don't know if
essentially
that's true. I'm not sure.
You could probably put it anywhere, depending on this. But I guess it's just a matter of where it would sit best, and how it would connect in that essence.
Oh, I'm
But
assuming it's supposed to be, since it's Neuralink, it probably connects to your nervous system in some fashion of your spine. I would assume maybe near your what power is that? Your cerebellum, I think. So being able to connect to some form of the function in your brain that produces memory and also produces thought. Things that gets the gears moving, probably somewhere around that layer of your brain and nervous system stem.
interesting. Okay, that's pretty neat. I
I
mean, that
could only
makes
think
sense.
I could only think
Neuralink.
that would make sense.
Yeah, yeah, that would make sense in the sense of what the name is. But
As far as where it's being implanted, of course, I feel like no matter where it is on your body, it's going to still function as what it needs to. However that looks like for connecting into your central nervous system and being able to operate as you as a person, that type of thing.
right. Quick side note: did you know if your immune system recognized that you have eyes, you'd go blind? Like they would just deteriorate your eyes.
What? What does
Yeah.
that even mean?
Meaning, like, your immune system doesn't recognize your eyes. I don't know. I guess it's based off of, like, what's, like, essentially floating around your eyes and, like, eyes getting, like, open bacteria in the world because, obviously you're looking at everything. The amount of, like, bacteria or something causes the immune system to, like, attack it if they recognize it.
That's interesting. I wonder
Yeah,
what that would
crazy.
look like if with the Neuralink in, if it would be able to override certain fears and senses. I feel like that might be a big hurdle too for people with phobias. Being able to have that Neuralink might be able to give you positive coping mechanisms. It might be like a self-therapist, being able to lead you through tough times, hard paths where you wouldn't have necessarily found yourself before. I wonder with that Neuralink if it can help you, move leaps and bounds that you could do on your own time with the help of this, little AI chip. I can't
You
say for
know,
sure that it would be something that would be a self-improver. It might just be an aid, that's all.
I think, while you're making great points, I'm sure if we ended up getting the Neuralink, let's just say, for example, we did, right?
Right.
Um, and the idea that we would use it for something, for betterment, whether that would be getting over, a phobia, getting over, lack of motivation, getting over anything else that we could like be having issues with.
Yeah.
Sure, I'm sure it's possible and capable of being done. But then I think about all the people that would want to get this Neuralink and do exactly the opposite with it. Like how we said, like with the Apple Vision Pros and the
Yeah.
Oculus and all that, and just sit there
Staring
day
into
in,
the
day
abyss.
out. Yeah, just sitting on your couch and just staring up and just zoning out and doing whatever they need to do, whether that's watching. I mean, I won't say the word, but I'll just say watching mature content.
Yeah,
It's
chilling at home, doing nothing, browsing TikTok and using it to like Instagram pictures.
yeah, exactly. It's just like
Like you said, pulling up the screens, immersing yourself in a different environment with the capability of changing your background, your scenery, and then also just kind of using it in your forefront view. Being able to reach out, tap things, grab bubbles, little writing prompts, things like that.
right.
It definitely would be a lot of entertainment there. And not that that's a bad thing by any means. I feel like that's a direction people want AR and AI to be, something where you can play to earn. I know that's a big thing in the NFT community where you're playing things to make money or just, giveaways. And then also in the sense that you're just doing it for entertainment purposes to connect with friends on a social level. So I feel like that's big. Hey,
Yeah.
put us on break blast. I got someone knocking at the door.
All right. Breaking. And welcome back.
Ahoy. Sorry about the wait, y'all.
All right, so where were we?
I think we were talking about the background scenario of having a Neuralink for changing your scenery, being able to do entertainment tasks, scroll on socials, stuff like that.
Yeah, I think I wanted to say something, but I can't remember what I wanted to say.
I know we were talking about staring into the endless abyss. Being able to do something that is not necessarily useful, but just for your own entertainment, for your own good, for whatever you want it to be.
Yeah, I guess I wanted to continue with the idea. Oh yeah, I wanted to give like a little opinion on the fact of like
Mm-hmm.
because you were talking about like the idea of using Neuralink for, like media purposes and such like that, connecting with friends,
Right.
things alike. And I wanted to say that I'm curious to see how our futures pan out with something like this. Because is it going to be something like, getting an iPhone and stuff like that? Everyone's got an iPhone, but not in actuality. I know a lot of people have like Samsungs and shit like that. But point
Sure.
is like, everyone's got a smartphone at this point. There's some people that might have like still the slide up, texting phones and shit like that we had back in middle school and high school. But I mean, even then, we were phasing over from middle to high with smartphones. So
Right.
point I'm getting at is it going to be something like that where everyone's going to end up getting the Neuralink because it's the new fad, it's the new wave, this is what we're using to like communicate with, this is what we're doing everything on, if you don't have a Neuralink, you're lame type deal.
I'm not sure. I think about it as the same with you, where it's going to be a trend every year. You need to upgrade it. You get a new iPhone. In this case, the Neuralink, every year it upgrades. You either get a new attachment to the insert or change out the link entirely, or it's just a big update, kind of like iOS in some form.
Right.
I almost wonder if we start going in that direction, if it will be something that is like a printer or a laptop, and it will be things that only people who need it for work or for something to do, more exploration, maybe some entrepreneurial stuff like with side gigs and things like that. If people who get into that space of work end up needing it. Because I'm sure, of course, there's going to be a massive wave of people who will be the new tech, the people who will try the new tech, the people who are the experimenters, the people who go and write the first reviews, the people who go get through troubleshooting. There will be obviously that wave. That's inevitable. And then after
Right.
that, it's that whole line of people on that tech curve who end up adopting it early. Like I think it's like early adopters, and then it's not until the third wave of people where it's the you and I's, the people who don't really worry about the new tech, the people who don't go and immediately try stuff just because it's new and pay the huge lump sum price to get it. I'm assuming that's how most people will be. It'll be one of those things where they're going to wait and see. They want to figure out what happens. This is a big step here for getting the Neuralink. Not only is it different in the sense of what technology has seen so far, but it's a huge leap because of what it does and its capabilities.
Yeah, it's definitely scary. And I have no want to do anything anywhere near it right now, because of just the unknown. No one knows anything about it really, and I think there have been like implants already done, right? Like,
Pretty
people
sure,
have
yeah.
already gotten and tried it. I just haven't really like looked into it. I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm nervous of what, capabilities.
What am I going to
like,
see?
Yeah, like, am I going to like what I see? Am I going to become interested in it? Do I want to become interested in it? Is this something that, like that I would want further down the line? And I honestly don't know. And I couldn't answer that question right off the top of my head right now.
No,
And maybe that's a good
definitely
thing.
not. And it might be a good thing for a while. Of course, being ignorant holds bliss, and that's part way of how the saying goes. But in that, we also have to be weary of the people who do take on the risk with the Neuralink and what that looks like for other people who aren't using it. I'm sure the people who don't use it, it's not like they can have their mind read. It's not like they're going to be any less of a person because they don't have a Neuralink. I think there might be, I don't think any segregation will pull from it by any means. Like, oh yeah, we have a Neuralink and you don't. But I do think it'll be a like knowledge tier. Like people with Neuralink will probably, if they use it for that sense, be able
Right.
to hone the information that they have and use it to much more heights. Be more productive, be different in how they speak, be able to write more eloquently, I'm sure, and then also be able to operate at a different level, be able to engage in social interactions completely differently. People who don't, they'll, not that I'm going to say they're going to be stuck in the past or anything, but it will be different in how they gauge people's conversations with the Neuralink and how they operate around people who have it. It'll definitely be a weird, I guess the word would be transition, to see people who do have it and don't have it, and then the interconnections of all that going on.
Yeah, it's kind of it's going to be weird because obviously before like smartphones, no one really, it was just texting. So like everyone was still
Yeah.
like seeing each other in person,
Yeah.
doing anything and everything together in the sense of like going to hang out with each other and such. Now when you switch over to like iPhones and like smartphones in general, you have like all of these video calls. You can just call literally anyone from the point in which you're sitting, and they could
Right.
be across the earth, and you could FaceTime them. Over exaggeration, maybe a little bit there, but across the United States, we'll say that. And you can easily call them and like see their face and do everything, and not have to leave the comfort of your own bed. So like obviously, traditions have changed in the sense of like one another talking. I mean, even look at us right now. I mean, we're talking over our computer.
Right. Right.
But what I'm getting at is you made a good point, like in the sense of like what's going to change once these things happen. What are I guess the processes of communicating and like talking to one another and acting with one another with a Neuralink? Is that going to change other other normal like not fads but other normal traditions of talking to one another or seeing one another? What is that gonna produce for us?
And that's a good question to leave off our viewers, only to let your mind wander and be able to escape to a different dimension. Because that's what the Neuralink is going to do. It's bringing us into a whole new realm.
Facts. And we'll have to just completely end it there. Until next time on Breakfast with Brothers.
And
Peace
don't
out.
forget, this week we still have our guests. So stay tuned. Keep your eyes peeled. You guys are going to love him again. The only hint you're getting, mark my words. Thanks for listening
Factual.
so far. Stay tuned because it's going to be crazy.
And again, peace out.
Out for the, I'm walking the bull, out for the, out for the, out for the, out for the, out for the.
Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.